The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Obama's 23 executive orders, doctors become snitches, gun ownership is a disease and more. As promised, President Obama has issued 23 executive orders as part of his campaign to disarm the American people and strip them of their Second Amendment rights. These executive orders include things like turning doctors into police state snitches by order them to ask patients about their guns. It also orders the CDC to begin studying gun violence and gun ownership as if it were a disease. This will no doubt become part of the mental health solution to disarming the public. Anyone who expresses a desire to own a gun will simply be labeled mentally ill, and then denied the ability to purchase or possess otherwise legal firearms. The following description of the 23 executive orders was provided by the White House. These descriptions are almost certainly deceptions, so don't take them at face value. The devil is in the details, as we all know, so until we get a chance to look at the actual wording of each executive order, we won't really know what Obama is trying to pull outside of law, without Congress and in violation of the United States Constitution. Their orders also completely ignore the issue of the psychiatric drugging of children, which we know is linked to nearly every school shooting that has taken place. Furthermore, Obama has completely ignored the issue of violent video games, violent movies and violent television programming. But here's the list provided by the White House so far. 1. Issue a presidential memorandum to require federal agencies to make relevant data available to the federal background check system. 2. Address unnecessary legal barriers, particularly relating to the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, that may prevent states from making information available to the background check system. 3. Improve incentives for states to share information with the background check system. More in guns. 4. Direct the Attorney General to review categories of individuals prohibited from having a gun, to make sure dangerous people are not slipping through the cracks. 5. Propose rulemaking to give law enforcement the ability to run a full background check on an individual before returning a seized gun. 6. Publish a letter from ATF to federally licensed gun dealers providing guidance on how to run background checks for private sellers. 7. Launch a national safe and responsible gun ownership campaign. 8. Review safety standards for gun locks and gun safes. Consumer Product Safety Commission. 9. Issue a presidential memorandum to require federal law enforcement to trace guns recovered in criminal investigations. 10. Release a DOJ report analyzing information on lost and stolen guns, and make it widely available to law enforcement. 11. Nominate an ATF director. 12. Provide law enforcement, first responders, and school officials with proper training for active shooter situations. 13. Maximize enforcement efforts to prevent gun violence and prosecute gun crime. 14. Issue a presidential memorandum directing the Centers for Disease Control to research the causes and prevention of gun violence. 15. Direct the Attorney General to issue a report on the availability and most effective use of new gun safety technologies, and challenge the private sector to develop innovative technologies. 16. Clarify that the Affordable Care Act does not prohibit doctors asking their patients about guns in their homes. 17. Release a letter to healthcare providers clarifying that no federal law prohibits them from reporting threats of violence to law enforcement authorities. 18. Provide incentives for schools to hire school resource officers. 19. Develop model emergency response plans for schools, houses of worship and institutions of higher education. 20. Release a letter to state health officials clarifying the scope of mental health services that Medicaid plans must cover. 21. Finalize regulations clarifying essential health benefits and parity requirements within ACA exchanges. 22. Commit to finalizing mental health parity regulations. 23. Launch a national dialogue led by Secretaries Sebelius and Duncan on mental health.
If there's a blue pill and a red pill, and the blue pill is half the price of the red pill and works just as well, why not pay half price?